This video is sponsored by Sealy. Well, it's over. The scandal to end all scandals has finally arrived, and this time it's me on the docket. That's right, the spotlight has finally turned on the spotlight operator, and now there is a Dungeons and Discourse scandal, and I'm doing a video about it in order to address the allegations that have been made. So welcome then to Therapy, hosted by your own rapist. Jokes aside, I regret to say that I have been caught up in a scandal this month, and it's been pretty rough. So then, what's happened? What did I do? And is it representative of a larger problem in the RPG hobby? And am I even sorry? Well, this is gonna be a bit of a weird video. It's gonna be a little bit indulgent and a lot more introspective than usual. I've never done this before. Usually, I'm the one dishing it out, but this time I guess I gotta take some back. Now, this all started a few weeks back when I did a video called either the Critical Role legal scandal just got worse, or Critical Role's OGL crisis is bad, or the Matt Mercer situation is crazy, or Matt Mercer just got his hands on the nuclear codes and someone has to stop him before he comes after us all. I don't know what the title is right now. I change the titles of my videos frequently based on numbers that are fed to me by YouTube, and the title has likely changed again recently. Now, this video was all about the community gaming license for Critical Role's brand new hit RPG, Daggerheart. And for context, this gaming license is the same sort of document that was at the very heart of the dark OGL scandal of D&D a few years back. Essentially, this is a document that sets out the rules that a third-party creator must obey if they want to create and sell content for Daggerheart, at least without the risk of being sued. And in my video, I spent 18 minutes talking about the Daggerheart community gaming license, why I and many others, a lot of them third-party content creators, don't like this new license from Critical Role, why certain clauses within the license are particularly bad, restrictive, and dangerous for creators, and also why it's so important that this license not be so, well, shit. But I could never have imagined the firestorm that this video would cause, because it has been by far my most controversial video that I have ever created on this channel, which is weird because I didn't even do any 9/11 jokes in this one. But the reaction to it has been vitriolic. I've been getting angry messages and even had some criticisms from other content creators on YouTube publicly. So I'm now doing the thing that you're not meant to do in this situation. I'm just going to address the allegations. But then again, I've never really been one to do what one ought to do. I mean, you're also not meant to get lost in the jungle. Have you ever been lost in the jungle? I have. In fact, I'm trapped inside a jungle right now. I saw a snake. Luckily, I have Sealy. Sealy is an eSIM, and that means it's a digital SIM card that works without needing to put anything in your phone, meaning that you can get an internet connection wherever you travel, saving you money on roaming fees and potentially even your life when you find out that you're trapped in the middle of the jungle and there's no Wi-Fi spot in sight. I climbed a tree, there's still none there. Yeah, really wish I had a local SIM card right about now. Well, Sealy is that. You just download it once and it works for over 200 different destinations, all at an affordable price. So you don't need to wait in line at an airport to get a local SIM card or risk being preyed upon by scammers selling fake SIM cards when you arrive at your destination. Plus, if you're planning on visiting several countries, you can get a regional plan to save even more money. Even better, if you don't want anyone snooping in on your Sonic the Hedgehog fan fiction, Sealy's security features means that you can change your virtual location wherever you are. You can block ads and even stay safe with web protection. All Sealy eSIM plans are compatible for iOS and Android devices, and they even provide 24/7 chat support. So just download the app, buy a plan, and follow the instructions to install your eSIM. It could not be easier. Download the Sealy app on your mobile device now and use my special code DUNGEONS at checkout and you'll get an exclusive 15% discount on all Sealy eSIM plans. Oh, and don't forget to thank me when you're being airlifted from that deadly jungle. And thanks to Sealy for sponsoring today's video. Okay then, let's clear the air. In the wake of my latest video, I've mainly been accused of sensationalism, creating lurid titles, and I've I've even been called a member of the outrage mill. But today I earnestly refute that, mostly because millers do good honest work and I'd never want to be associated with those people, but also because to me, being a member of the outrage mill means that you're being duplicitous, like you're trying to cynically exploit people. And I don't deny that there are duplicitous actors on YouTube and elsewhere who do act in bad faith. But come on, look at me. Do I look like I'm acting in bad faith to you? But seriously, I do refute these accusations. Now, just to clarify, Dungeons and Discourse, hello, is an opinion-based YouTube channel covering RPG and tabletop news. I always give my opinion, but also I heavily script my videos. I spend a lot of time on them, and I think that people should watch them. I worry that my content is accurate, clear, and funny, and in that order too, and I'm still figuring this whole thing out. I'm not sure what works all the time. I still haven't figured out the secrets to success on YouTube, because, you know, I haven't gotten there yet. Probably lost a lot of subscribers with the rapist joke at the beginning of this video. But anyone who does engage with my content and watches it all the way through will know that I'm excessively sane and often come to very reasonable conclusions, if I say so myself. Well done! Thanks. And yes, we have a little bit of fun on the channel here. We tell some jokes, we muckrake a little, but it's all in good fun. And sure, we dramatize stories too. We use emotional language as well. But honestly, most of the criticism I've gotten lately isn't about the actual content of my videos. It's about the aesthetics of my content, how it is packaged. And I'm not unused to people disliking my aesthetic. I mean, I went through a jorts phase, for Christ's sake. But I have gotten a lot of anger about the thumbnails and titles of my videos lately, so okay, hear me out. Let me address this once and for all. The Dungeons and Discourse scandal just got worse. So I don't just create my titles for fun, I do it because YouTube actually does tell content creators whether a video is performing well or not. On 99% of the time that a video is performing badly, it's because the title or thumbnail is not enticing or intriguing enough to win viewers over into clicking on that video. And seeing that I spend days, sometimes weeks, writing, recording, and editing my videos, and I personally think that they're pretty good, I like to try and make sure that the titles and thumbnails of my videos allow them to actually get some views. Because let me tell you, there is nothing more frustrating on this earth than having an otherwise excellent video die on the vine of the YouTube homepage simply because of the aesthetics of that video not grabbing people's attention, especially when it's about a really important topic. That is a poor fit for an otherwise rigorous, well-researched, and on this channel, frankly, brilliant video. So yes, YouTube does indeed encourage certain types of titles and thumbnails, and I humbly oblige it, like a partner to a force-feeding fetishist who insists that I take another bite. Don't mind if I do. This is how YouTube as a platform works. You just gotta pay the toll. And if you don't believe me, here is an example. So this is a recent video about some American news that has a sensible, normal, descriptive title. This video got 8,500 views. That's a fine number of views. Now here's another video with a much more lurid and sensationalized headline, complete with a little alarm emoji, which I definitely must do in future. In contrast, this video got 457,000 views. That's nearly 500,000 and a crazy increase from 8.5k. But here is where it gets really wild, because both of these videos are actually the exact same video posted by the exact same content creator at the exact same time. And the only difference in these two is the title and thumbnail. One of these was posted to a channel that does intriguing titles, and the other was posted to a channel with more descriptive, less lurid titles. But that's the only difference. Just the title and thumbnail, everything else is the same. And that change in title is the difference between hundreds of thousands of views and just a couple thousand. And every single news content creator on YouTube does the same thing, at least the successful ones, because the increase in views that a strong title brings is the difference between a content creator who covers news topics on their channel as a job and one that is not able to afford food that week. Alas, in order to be a master creator, one one must also be a masturbator, at least until YouTube changes the algorithm in some way or replaces us all with emotionless robots with no interest in masturbation. And yes, me providing the peek behind the curtain here is self-serving, and of course, strong titles benefit me. People watching my videos get me ad revenue, but I do have an editor I need to pay a living wage to from that ad revenue. I mean, weekly buckets of fish are not cheap. Also, I use that ad revenue to eat. I was a lawyer before this whole YouTube thing, but now YouTube is pretty much my sole source of income, and it is incredibly inconsistent and frankly pretty poor, hence my need to take sponsors and shamelessly shill my Patreon and merch, like this awesome new desk mat that you should check out, linked below. It's available only until July 25th and it is exclusive to this channel. It's an incredible tapestry of all the RPG scandals of yesteryear. Boy, that's incredibly niche, but it's also only because of your support that I can actually keep making content about RPGs and covering the industry. And also, to be honest, I am super invested in the RPG hobby, and I am interested in it, and I care about it. And I understand that sometimes the actual day-to-day hustle of the industry of RPGs and tabletop gaming can be pretty dry, and is only interesting to a smaller, hardcore audience. But yet, this news, it affects us all, role players, tabletop gamers, and for us to effect change, to have a better RPG community, we must talk about the news together and have an overall engaged community. It's important that people know about this stuff and what's going on. I want RPG news to reach the maximal number of people, hence the headlines of my videos are meant to get people in the door, and then I hit them with the nuance. This is the story of headlines since time immemorial. So yeah, we have fun on YouTube, and the titles on here are a bit tongue-in-cheek and designed to do well on this platform. But the actual content on my channel, the stuff I spend most of my time on, the things I talk about in the actual video here, they're important, or at least I think so, and I want other people to think that they're as important as I do. I make timeless arguments on here, like, don't enslave the Irish. Why'd you enslave the Irish, Hasbro? Leave us alone. Stop stealing Irish people and forcing them to work on Mousetrap. But also, you know, don't increase the price of D&D, or abandon the core game for a franchise model built on plushies and video games, which definitely seems to be happening now, by the way. And you can get more sober thumbnails or less lurid headlines out there. They can be found on absolutely excellent websites like N-World and Rascal News. But the reality of YouTube is that sometimes you just gotta make a 9/11 joke. Or not. I don't know, I've never tried not making a 9/11 joke. It's always one after the other, you know? So, okay, I'm being criticized for being too sensational. I disagree. And in fact, I want to turn the allegations right back at a lot of the commenters out there and argue that they are not being sensational enough. I've noticed that in the last few years that many people out there, in their haste to appear reasonable and grounded, can sometimes launder truly outrageous actions, insane scandals within the industry, and make them sound like it's normal behavior, and even reflexively excuse insane decisions as somewhat reasonable, all in an attempt to understand. For example, I really like Bob the World Builder's content. He has a chill vibe and he seems lovely. I enjoy his videos. I'm a big fan. I even backed his RPG book Delve on Kickstarter. I got nothing but love for this guy and I'm sure we'd get on swell. But he produced a video recently debunking the criticism of the Darrington Press community gaming license, arguing that it's not a scandal, and the people saying so are engaging in a performative, sensationalist outrage mill seeking to undermine Critical Role as part of an effort to cynically move on to covering Daggerheart as the hot new game of the season instead of D&D. And I disagree quite strongly, at least as far as my channel is concerned. What the other channels he mentioned are doing, I don't know, but I was put on a list. I was in the list. Not the only list I'm in, but let's move on. But this one hurt, and I disagree very strongly with this characterization of my criticisms. In fact, I think I was being overly generous in my recent critique of Critical Role, Darrington Press, and their new gaming license. And maybe in my previous video went a little bit too easy on the company because I have a soft spot not for Critical Role, and I don't want to assume any amount of duplicity where there is none, especially not from a group of people that I'm a fan of. And also, let's be honest, if you criticize Critical Role online, I hope you own a gun, because holy shit, that is a very passionate fan base. Which is good, but can also be kinda bad. Swings and roundabouts, you know, passion is good. But more than that, this attitude worried me because I think that it risks sandwashing the behavior and decisions of Darrington Press in this instance, and I've subsequently seen Bob's video be used as a defense of Daggerheart's gaming license by commenters as if there is no reasonable criticism to be had of that license. And this has demonstrated that comments and content that sandwash particular decisions in the industry like this can muddy the water for consumer advocacy, and it undermines the necessary righteous indignation of the community. Because we need righteous indignation, especially in this case, and it shouldn't be downplayed. This new Daggerheart license is pretty radical, and if it is allowed to simply exist in its current form without any pushback, no controversy, no criticism, it will encourage other companies to produce similar licenses with similar problematic clauses. This is how what is normal in a market changes. A company pushes the envelope, they step out of line and overreach, and that sends a signal to the rest of the market. And how the player and user community react to that initial overreach by the company shapes whether or not it becomes acceptable, whether it becomes normal, and consequently whether or not other companies follow their lead and replicate that radical change in the future to the extent that it becomes no longer radical, it becomes the norm. I've seen it happen in every single one of my hobbies. You have to push back against this sort of stuff. And in all the argumentation about clickbait and how we package our messages or opinions or 9/11 jokes, we're missing something really important. And it's that the Daggerheart license still really sucks for creators. It's filled with horrible clauses, and I dread to think what would happen to the RPG hobby and industry if the terms in this legal document become the norm in our hobby, especially considering how many other RPGs have awesome open licenses that are way more permissive, and I don't want that central point to be lost in all this back and forth. I like Critical Role, but man, this license is pernicious, and it's a bad foundation for the Daggerheart community. Because remember, ultimately the point of these open gaming licenses, their entire purpose isn't simply to allow creatives to publish content for a game like it's some sort of privilege, but for creatives to be able to sustainably build a business based on publishing that content. That means that a license must be consistent, it must be predictable, and it must be as permissive as possible to encourage creators to create and give them the peace of mind in building their lives around doing so. That is why the OGL scandal was so terribly dangerous for D&D and the RPG community, because it pulled the rug from under creatives and threatened to upend the entire sanctity of the market and change how creators interact with the world's biggest role-playing game. And yes, in this case, Darrington Press, they're not changing any terms, so it's technically not as bad as the OGL scandal, but they are still making a really poor initial framework for the burgeoning market of what is potentially the world's next biggest role-playing game in the first place. It's pushing off on a really bad start, and that is also deserving of our criticism and ire, because hopefully Darrington Press will change this license as a result of that criticism by hearing our concerns. Being quiet about this will only make it easier to ignore the critique. And yes, no one is entitled to just make content for Daggerheart. That's true. Lots of commenters have been telling me that. That's true. But still, that doesn't mean we should be thankful for any license at all, even if it's bad, because ultimately a good community license serves both Darrington Press and us. This is for their own good, because it will lead to a large, healthy, third-party marketplace filled with Daggerheart content, and that is better for their game. It's better for players of their game, and it's better for our entire hobby. I mean, it goes both ways. We might not be entitled to build content for Daggerheart, but Daggerheart isn't entitled to third-party content creators either. It's not a privilege to build content for Daggerheart under an open, non-revocable creator-first license. It's a necessity, or else there will be no content for Daggerheart, not after a while. And so, any suspicious clauses in this license need to be scrutinized, even if it's a document document being put out by Critical Role, and they're generally pretty cool. Because ultimately, it doesn't matter who you are, you don't put a clause in a contract, in a legal document, unless you plan on someday relying on it. And there's some nasty clauses in this community license, this legal document. And if you want more detail on this, well, my previous video explains it all. And I don't even think that anyone has actually refuted any of my points in that video. But also, Ron the Rules Lawyer, who is also a real lawyer, has done a follow-up video presenting his critiques of the license too, and we're much in agreement on many points. This is a scandal, and we should be mad, and I hope that this coverage convinces Darrington Press to change the license to be more creator-friendly. I just hope that this broader conversation about content hasn't obscured the real, legitimate argument over the license being too much, because many people want to just give Critical Role a pass, and as much as I would love to, I don't think we should. They need to do better. So yeah, like I said, this video is pretty indulgent, but still, I wanted to clear the air, and I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who does support this channel. I truly couldn't do this without you. Well, I could, I would just be in a cell again. So thanks very much. And if you do want to support the RPG and tabletop hobby news coverage that I do here, you can check out my merch, you can subscribe to the channel, support me on Patreon, all linked below, and a massive thanks to my patrons, especially CryptoKev, and I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye. Oh, and don't forget to download the Sealy app on your mobile device right now and use my special code DUNGEONS at checkout to get an exclusive 15% off Sealy eSIM plans.